A.A.P. Pong, a magnate renowned for his immense wealth and formidable influence, was not only celebrated for his shrewd intellect and razor-sharp business acumen, but also for his growing doubts about the authenticity of his family's affection and integrity. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Despite amassing great success and wealth, he found himself consumed with a gnawing uncertainty about whether his relatives truly cherished him or merely valued his financial empire. This internal turmoil reached a crescendo one fateful evening when A.A. Pong resolved to embark on a daring venture to unveil the genuine nature of his family's loyalty. He crafted a cunning scheme to feign severe illness and blindness, intending to scrutinize their reactions and gauge the fate of his enterprises in his fabricated state of frailty. Before setting his intricate plan into motion, A.A. Pong sought counsel from his most trusted advisor, Mr. Yu, and his longtime confidant and esteemed medical expert, Dr. Song. In a dimly lit room, his face etched with the gravity of his decision, A.A.P. Pong addressed them with heartfelt sincerity. "Mr. You, Doctor," Song A.A. Pong began, his voice tinged with a mix of anxiety and resolve. "I am deeply grateful for your swift response to my request. I find myself in need of your guidance on a matter of profound importance." Mr. Yu, with a demeanor of professional calm, responded, "Certainly, Mr. A.A. Pong. How may we assist you in this urgent situation?" A.A.P. Pong then revealed his audacious plan. "I have been mulling over an unconventional strategy. I intend to simulate a severe illness and complete blindness to observe how my family reacts and to assess the fate of my businesses in my ostensible absence." Dr. Song's eyes widened slightly, reflecting concern and caution. "This is indeed a radical course of action. Are you certain you wish to proceed with this plan?" With unwavering determination, A.A.P. Pong affirmed, "Without a doubt. I must discern who genuinely cares for me and who is driven solely by my material wealth. I must be unequivocally sure about who should rightfully inherit my legacy." Understanding the gravity of the situation, Mr. Yu assured him, "I grasp the seriousness of your concerns. We will need to meticulously organize this. I will arrange a separate account and transfer half of your assets to it, thereby safeguarding your financial security, regardless of the outcome." Dr. Song added, "And I will prepare the necessary medical documentation to substantiate your condition." This ruse must be convincing. With their roles clearly defined, A.A.P. Pong's elaborate scheme was set into motion. 3 weeks later, as he was en route home, A.A.P. Pong placed a distress call to his wife. "Hello, my dear. I'm feeling quite unwell and am unable to drive. Could you come and pick me up?" His wife, Mrs. A.A.P. Pong, immediately expressed concern. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" A.A.P. Pong, feigning weakness and desperation, replied, "I'm unsure of what's happening. I feel incredibly debilitated. Please come quickly," rushed with worry. Mrs. A.A. Pong swiftly departed from their home and drove to his location. Upon arrival, she discovered him slumped in the driver's seat, his complexion pallid and his demeanor disoriented. With tender urgency, she assisted him into the passenger seat and drove them home, oblivious to the layers of deception unfolding before her. Upon arriving at their home, the severity of A.A.P. Pong's fabricated illness seemed to escalate dramatically. He feigned blindness and a profound weakness, his condition appearing increasingly dire. The distressing news of his sudden and alarming health crisis quickly permeated the household, reaching his children A.J., the 35-year-old eldest son Apia, the 30-year-old second son Amama, the 27-year-old third daughter, and Asaba, the 23-year-old youngest daughter. In response, the family doctor, Dr. Song, arrived promptly to conduct a thorough examination. After collecting blood samples and performing an array of diagnostic tests, Dr. Song returned a week later with a grim and unsettling diagnosis. With a solemn expression, Doctor. Song addressed the anxious family. Mr. A.I. Pong, I have the results of your tests. Unfortunately, you are afflicted with liver cirrhosis and kidney disease. Moreover, there is a significant blood clot in your brain, which has resulted in a stroke and severely impaired your vision. The gravity of this prognosis cast a shadow over the household, and the once vibrant atmosphere grew somber. In the beginning, the family exhibited a commendable dedication to A.P. Pong's care. They spared no expense in securing the best medical treatment, providing him with a nutritious diet, and ensuring his environment was as comfortable as possible for his recovery. However, as the months wore on, the initial fervor of their caregiving began to wane. The burden of continuous care proved more taxing than they had anticipated. The novelty of the situation faded, and the relentless demands of A.A. Pong's condition began to take a toll on their patience and commitment. Gradually, the once attentive and compassionate family members became detached and absorbed in their personal lives and preoccupations. The relentless routine of care led them to gradually offload most of the responsibilities onto the household staff. The emotional and physical strain of caring for A.A. Pong became evident in their diminishing involvement and growing distance. One fateful afternoon, Mrs. A.A.P. Pong convened a board meeting to address the deteriorating situation. With a heavy heart, she informed the board members of A.E. Pong's worsening health and announced her decision to assume control of the company's operations, with A.J. positioned as her primary assistant. Given the severity of my husband's condition, I will be stepping in to manage the company, with A.J. supporting me in this role. We must ensure the business remains robust and successful during this trying period, Mrs. A.A.P. Pong declared resolutely. Despite their lack of practical experience, Mrs. A.A. Pong and A.J. took charge of the company, dismissing the advice and guidance of seasoned executives and industry professionals. Fueled by their overconfidence and determination to prove themselves, they embarked on managing the business with minimal input from the experts. This oversight resulted in a cascade of miscalculations and ill-advised decisions that began to undermine the company's once stable foundation. The repercussions of their misjudgments slowly chipped away at the company's stability, revealing the fragility of their hastily assumed leadership. As A.A.P. Pong's health continued to spiral downward, the neglect and mismanagement perpetrated by his wife and eldest son, A.J., became increasingly stark and disheartening. Mrs. A.A.P. Pong, overwhelmed by the monumental task of managing the family business, found herself detached from her husband's needs. Her focus was wholly consumed by the pressures of her new role, leaving her scant time or inclination to attend to A.P. Pong's deteriorating condition. Days would pass without her so much as stepping into his room, her presence increasingly rare and her concern even rarer. A.A. Pong lay in his bed, often going for days on end without receiving a bath or any of the basic care one might expect. His needs were disregarded by those who should have been his closest caregivers, revealing a chilling indifference to his suffering. Compounding the situation, Mrs. A.A.P. Pong allocated significant portions of the family's wealth to her church pastor, making lavish offerings that starkly contrasted with the scant attention she afforded her husband. The funds that could have been used to ensure A.A. Pong's comfort were instead funneled into extravagant donations. Meanwhile, A.J., driven by a desire for luxury and a complete disregard for the company's financial health, frequently withdrew substantial sums for opulent trips to Dubai. These indulgent vacations enjoyed with his wife and children further depleted the already strained company resources, exacerbating the financial crisis. Amama, the third daughter, found herself increasingly troubled by the egregious neglect her father was enduring. Her sense of injustice grew to a boiling point one evening when she decided to confront her mother. With a mixture of desperation and indignation, she entered A.A.P. Pong's room, where her father lay motionless, his eyes shut tight in a painful facade of blindness. "Mother, this situation is beyond unacceptable," Amama began, her voice quivering with emotion. "We need to show a higher degree of care and responsibility towards Daddy. He's in immense suffering, and we seem to be doing nothing about it. We should be considering options for advanced medical treatment abroad, not just letting him wither away." Mrs. AAP Pong, with a dismissive and weary tone, responded, "Amama, you're being completely unrealistic. The doctor has made it clear that your father's condition is terminal. Sending him abroad would be a futile and wasteful expense. We must face the reality of the situation." Amama, unable to contain her frustration, countered vehemently, "How can you be so callous? He's our father. Regardless of his prognosis, he deserves the best care we can provide. We must ensure he is comfortable and receives every possible chance for a better quality of life." The management style adopted by Mrs. AAP Pong and AJ created an environment characterized by fear, resentment, and hostility among the company's employees. Their authoritarian and domineering approach led to frequent outbursts of anger directed at staff, hasty firings over trivial mistakes, and an overall atmosphere of intimidation. This toxic environment resulted in a wave of resignations from experienced and skilled workers, leaving the company vulnerable and struggling with a turnover of inexperienced replacements who lacked the expertise needed to navigate the complexities of the business. Within a mere 8 months, the company's financial health deteriorated rapidly, teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. The family convened an urgent meeting to address the worsening situation. The atmosphere in the room was thick with tension and frustration, as the gravity of their predicament became increasingly apparent. Mrs. AAP Pong proposed a drastic measure to salvage the floundering company. "We must act quickly to prevent further collapse. I suggest that we sell one of our family homes to inject some much-needed cash into the business," she proposed, her voice resolute but tinged with the strain of the ongoing crisis. Ia, who had been silently seething over the ongoing mismanagement, erupted in vehement opposition. "Not. This mess is entirely the result of your and AJ's incompetence. You both have mishandled every aspect of the company's operations, and now you want to sell our property to rectify your blunders," Apia shouted, his frustration boiling over. The argument rapidly escalated, with Apia's pent-up anger coming to a head. "You two have single-handedly destroyed everything. Your mistreatment of the employees and your reckless decisions have driven the company into the ground," he roared, his voice echoing the bitterness he felt. AJ, defensive and stung by the criticism, shot back, "How dare you speak to us like that? We did what we believed was best under the circumstances." Apia, not backing down, retorted fiercely, "Best? By abusing your power, squandering money on luxuries and church donations, and failing to heed the advice of seasoned professionals, you've obliterated our father's legacy and jeopardized our family's future." The confrontation was intense, with the room filled with anger, blame, and the palpable weight of disappointment. Each member of the family grappled with their role in the unfolding disaster, reflecting the deep fractures and growing discord within both the family and the company. The meeting underscored the severity of the situation, as the family struggled to navigate the wreckage of their mismanagement and the crumbling remnants of their father's once thriving empire. The escalating argument soon erupted into a full-blown physical confrontation as Apia and AJ began exchanging furious blows. Their shouts and grunts filled the room with overwhelming chaos, each punch echoing the depth of their resentment and frustration. Amama, overwhelmed by the scene unfolding before her, could no longer contain her pent-up rage and desperation. With a voice cracking under the weight of her emotions, she shouted, "Stop it, both of you. Enough already. Is this what we've become, fighting over the remnants of what Father worked so hard to build while completely neglecting his health and well-being?" Her voice cut through the din like a knife, momentarily halting the violent clash as her brothers paused, panting and glaring with a mixture of fury and shock. Amama's eyes were filled with a mix of pleading and anguish as she continued, "Father needs us now more than ever. And all you two can focus on is the company and the money. Have you forgotten the man who sacrificed everything for our sake? We need to remember what truly matters: his health and our family's unity." Her words hung heavy in the air, casting a sobering silence over the room as the family members began to grapple with the weight of their misplaced priorities. The realization of their failings and the consequences of their actions started to dawn on them, but the damage had already been done. Despite the initial attempts at unity and rebuilding, underlying tensions and unresolved issues persisted. The youngest daughter, Asaba, remained detached from the family's struggles and the company's downfall. Her focus was on funding her lavish lifestyle, which included supporting her boyfriend and indulging in frequent nightclub excursions and parties. She often drew funds from her mother and elder brother without considering the financial strain it placed on the family. Her carefree attitude and lack of responsibility further strained the already fragile family dynamics. Similarly, Apia, the second son, exhibited a lack of commitment to the family's well-being. His primary concern was securing his portion of the inheritance to launch his own business. This focus on personal gain frequently put him at odds with the rest of the family, leading to frequent arguments and escalating tensions. His self-centered approach and disregard for the collective needs of the family exacerbated the internal discord. In a desperate bid to salvage the failing company and address the mounting financial crisis, Mrs. Ayapong made a contentious decision. She opted to sell one of the family's houses, hoping to infuse the business with much-needed capital. Half of the proceeds were injected into the struggling company, while the remainder was reserved as a personal safety net for herself. However, this move only served to deepen the rift within the family. Apia, feeling deeply betrayed by his mother's unilateral decision, erupted in fury. "How could you sell the house without consulting us? This isn't solely your decision to make," he roared, his voice brimming with anger and disbelief. Mrs. AAP Pong, her frustrations evident, replied tersely, "I did what I believed was necessary for the company's survival and the family's future. We needed the funds." Apia, his anger barely contained, shot back, "You're destroying this family with your reckless decisions." The confrontation quickly escalated, with Apia and AJ once again coming dangerously close to physical blows. Amama, distressed by the perpetual conflict and the disintegration of family ties, intervened with a voice full of anguish. "Please everyone, we need to stop this madness. We're tearing each other apart. Father needs us to be united, not to be fighting amongst ourselves." The intensity of the argument and the underlying conflicts only served to highlight the family's disintegration and the dire state of their collective well-being. The company continued to falter under the weight of poor management, and the family's internal strife only added to the chaos. As the fighting subsided, the once close-knit family found themselves facing a profound and painful reckoning with their actions and the deep fractures that had emerged in the wake of A.A. Pong's illness and the subsequent collapse of their shared empire. Heartbroken and consumed by a profound sense of desperation, Amama approached her father's bedside with a heavy heart. She gently took his frail hand in her own, her touch tender and filled with deep, unspoken sorrow. With tears glistening in her eyes, she spoke softly, her voice barely more than a whisper. "Father, we have all failed you. We have allowed our greed, lust for power, and selfishness to create a rift between us. But I am here now, determined to make things right. Please, grant me the chance to fix what has been broken. I promise you, I will do everything within my power to make amends for our failures." The only response she received was a faint, almost imperceptible squeeze of her hand, a fragile sign that A.P. Pong's consciousness was still tethered to this world, despite the grave state of his condition. The situation reached a heart-wrenching climax when A.P. Pong's health took a decisive and irreversible turn for the worse. The cumulative effect of inadequate care and relentless family disputes had taken a severe toll on his already frail body. One somber night, in the stillness of his sleep, he passed away quietly, the silence of the room echoing the strained and unresolved tensions that had marked the family's recent interactions. The news of A.P. Pong's death reverberated through the family like a jolt of electricity, sending shockwaves that cut through the web of conflict and disarray. In the wake of this devastating loss, the family came together for the funeral, their grief intermingled with the ongoing turmoil and unresolved issues. As they stood around the grave, their expressions a blend of sorrow and regret, they were confronted with the reading of A.P. Pong's will. The will's contents brought an unexpected twist to the somber occasion. To everyone's astonishment, A.P. Pong had foreseen the possibility of discord and had taken meticulous steps to address it. He had established a trust designed to allocate his assets in a manner that would not only preserve his legacy, but also ensure the financial stability and well-being of his family members. The will contained a deeply moving message, a final appeal from a father who had hoped for healing and reconciliation. In his message, A.P. Pong urged his children to reflect on their past mistakes, embrace one another with genuine affection, and prioritize the unity of their family above the pursuit of wealth and material gain. The impact of the will was profound, casting a new light on the family's understanding of their father's intentions and legacy. As they listened to the heartfelt message, a wave of introspection and remorse swept over them. The realization of their failures and the loss of their father's guiding presence struck a poignant chord, prompting a deeper contemplation of their actions and the values they had so carelessly overlooked. Amid their grief, they were faced with a chance for redemption, a chance to honor A.P. Pong's final wish and to rebuild the fractured bonds that had once held them together. A.P. Pong's final wishes stood as a moving testament to the principles he had cherished throughout his life. His passing forced the family to confront the stark reality of their actions and the chasm of discord that had divided them. Faced with the weight of their father's last wishes, they were compelled to reconcile their fractured relationships and reassess their lives with a fresh perspective. The lessons imparted by A.P. Pong's final act of foresight would linger with them, casting a long shadow over their futures and reshaping their understanding of what truly holds value in life. As the days turned into weeks, the family's inability to navigate their personal and financial chaos became more apparent. Amma, now left to shoulder the overwhelming burden of caring for their father alone, felt the weight of the responsibilities that had been unfairly placed upon her. Desperate for her siblings to recognize the gravity of the situation and to contribute to their father's care, she reached out to them again, hoping they would finally grasp the urgency of their father's deteriorating condition and come to his aid. "Amma, please, we need to address the situation with father. He can't remain in the boys' quarters. He deserves proper care and attention," Amma pleaded, her voice laced with desperation. "Amma, we've discussed this before. We have our own lives to lead, and we can't be consumed by his illness," Apia responded dismissively, trying to distance himself from the responsibility. "Apia, I understand we all have our futures to consider, but we can't keep sacrificing everything else," Amma insisted, her frustration evident in her tone. "Saber, it's not fair to put all the blame on us, but I know we can't change Mother's mind," Apia said, his voice tinged with resignation. Feeling the weight of their indifference, Amma resolved to visit her father that night, seeking to offer him some comfort and reassurance. As she walked through the quiet, dimly lit house, her thoughts were interrupted by faint, unsettling noises emanating from her mother's room. Her heart raced with a mix of curiosity and concern, compelling her to investigate further. As she drew closer, the disturbing sounds grew clearer, and it became painfully obvious that her mother and Kwai, the so-called driver, were engaged in an affair. Overcome with shock and a wave of intense anger, Amma could no longer contain her emotions. Driven by a surge of righteous indignation, she burst into the room, only to find her mother and Kwai in a compromising and naked embrace. The scene before her was a gut-wrenching betrayal, a stark reminder of the fractures within their family and the deep-seated issues that had remained hidden beneath the surface. The revelation was a devastating blow, exposing not just the betrayal of trust, but also the depth of the family's moral and emotional disarray. Amma stood there, grappling with the enormity of the situation, her heart breaking as she faced the stark reality of her mother's infidelity and the compounded neglect of their father's well-being. "Mother, what on earth is happening here? How could you betray us like this?" Amma's voice was a trembling mix of disbelief and fury, her eyes wide with shock. "Mrs." Ajapong and Kwai scrambled to cover themselves, their faces a mixture of guilt and shame. The room was thick with an unbearable silence, the air heavy with the weight of the betrayal. "Mrs." Ajapong's attempts to gather her composure were futile as she struggled to articulate a defense. "Amma, please, this isn't what it seems, Mrs." Ajapong stammered, her voice wavering. "You don't understand. I have my own needs, and Kwai has been here for me when no one else was." "How can you even justify this?" Amma demanded, her voice rising in intensity. "Father is lying sick in the next room, suffering from conditions that should have had our full attention. And here you are, in an affair with him. This is the deepest level of betrayal." "Amma, please, just hear me out, Mrs." Ajapong pleaded, her desperation palpable. "There is nothing to discuss. Leave this house immediately." Amma's words were sharp and uncompromising, her resolve firm. Kwai, realizing the futility of his position, hurriedly dressed and fled the room, his face flushed with shame and fear. He knew he had no place in this familial conflict and chose to withdraw in silence. "Mrs. Ajapong, Amma, you have to try to understand. I've been so lonely and overwhelmed. I needed someone to confide in." Mrs. Ajapong's voice cracked as she spoke, her eyes pleading for empathy. "Lonely and stressed," Amma echoed, her anger barely contained. "What about father? He's the one who's truly suffering, and you've turned your back on him. You've squandered money on luxuries and neglected your duties as a wife and mother. And now, this." The magnitude of Mrs. Ajapong's actions hung heavily in the room. Her indulgence and disregard for her husband's dire state had now culminated in an affair, a betrayal that cut to the core of the family's unity. Amma stood there, grappling with the devastating reality of her mother's disloyalty and the ongoing neglect of their father's needs. The betrayal was not just a personal affront, but a deep fracture in the already fragile fabric of their family. "Mrs. Ajapong, do you think I have it easy? Balancing the family and the business is a heavy burden. I've done what I had to do to survive, Mrs." Ajapong said, her voice defensive yet strained. "No, but this isn't the way to handle it," Amma countered, her anger and disappointment evident. "You've let everyone down, especially father." The confrontation was raw and emotional, and Amma was about to leave the room when Mrs. Ajapong issued a chilling warning. "Amma, if you breathe a word of this to anyone, you will no longer be my daughter. Do you understand, Mrs.?" Ajapong's eyes were hard, her tone uncompromising. Amma was stunned. The gravity of the ultimatum was suffocating. "Mother, you can't be serious. You expect me to keep this secret? You've betrayed our family and our father." "I am serious, Mrs." Ajapong insisted. "If this news gets out, it will destroy everything: the family, the company, our reputation. If you care about any of that, you'll keep quiet." "What about father?" Amma's voice quivered with emotion. "What about his dignity? Doesn't that matter to you at all?" "Of course it does, Mrs." Ajapong replied, though her voice softened, "But we need to handle this discreetly. The last thing we need is a scandal." Amma was caught in a terrible dilemma. Her mother's actions were unforgivable, yet the threat of being disowned was a harsh reality. She knew she needed to act to protect her father and preserve some semblance of dignity for the family. Determined to find a solution, Emma made a bold decision. One day, while the house was empty, she arranged for some trusted boys from the neighborhood to help her move her father. With great care, they transported Mr. Edifying to a vehicle. Emma drove through the night, her heart set on getting him to a place where he could receive the care he so desperately needed. Upon arriving at her family house in the village, Emma was met with a mix of surprise and concern from her relatives. Uncle Kwame and Auntie Aoife, known for their traditional healing methods, quickly gathered around. "Emma, what's going on?" Uncle Kwame asked, his eyes widening as he took in the sight of Mr. Edifying. "Uncle Kwame, Auntie Aoife," Emma explained, her voice filled with desperation. "I've brought father here because his condition has become unbearable. The treatments in the city aren't working anymore. I believe that with your help and traditional remedies, we might be able to provide him with the care he needs." Her relatives listened intently, their faces reflecting a mix of concern and resolve. Auntie Aoife stepped forward, placing a reassuring hand on Emma's shoulder. "Emma, you did the right thing by bringing him here. We'll do everything we can to help him. Our traditional remedies have helped many before, and will ensure he receives the best care possible." The family quickly mobilized, preparing traditional treatments and creating a comforting environment for Mr. Edifying. The village's collective effort and deep-seated knowledge of herbal medicine began to infuse hope into the situation. Emma watched as her relatives worked tirelessly, feeling a glimmer of hope for her father's recovery. The relief of knowing that Mr. Edifying was receiving compassionate care was a small solace amidst the turmoil and betrayal she had endured. Despite the trials and fractures within her family, Emma's decision to seek help from her relatives marked a significant turning point. The village's dedication and traditional healing practices offered a semblance of hope, reinforcing the values of family and solidarity that seemed to have been lost. The path ahead was uncertain, but Emma remained steadfast in her commitment to caring for her father and mending the broken pieces of her family's legacy. The family wasted no time in preparing Mr. Edifying's new quarters. They turned a spare room into a sanctuary of comfort, filling it with soft linens and soothing decor. Herbs and traditional medicines were gathered, and the village healer renowned for his deep knowledge of herbal treatments arrived to oversee the regimen. Healer will start with a cleansing regimen to rid his body of any toxins the family's primary spokesperson instructed. Then we'll use specific herbs to strengthen his liver and kidneys. Emma felt a surge of relief as her father was finally surrounded by people who genuinely cared for his well-being. The village healer's presence brought hope, and the collective effort of her relatives reassured her that they were doing everything they could. The support shown by most family members was heartening. They remembered Mr. Edifying's past generosity and wanted to repay his kindness. "Uncle Kwame, Edifying has done so much for us," Emma said, her voice filled with conviction. "It's our turn to take care of him now. Let's all contribute what we can to ensure he gets the best care." Most family members agreed enthusiastically, pledging their support. They rallied together, determined to provide Mr. Edifying with the best care possible. However, a few dissenters voiced their discontent. "Cousin, he should have done more when he had the chance," one relative grumbled. "I won't be contributing." "Auntie Aosa, it's disappointing," Emma replied, trying to maintain composure. "But we can't force everyone to help. We'll do our best with what we have." As night fell and the family began to disperse, Mr. Edifying summoned the herbalist to his side. The herbalist, who had been diligently preparing treatments and monitoring Mr. Edifying's care, was taken aback by the unexpected request. "Herbalist, I need to tell you something important, Mr. Edifying said, his voice steady but earnest. The truth is, I am not sick. I am a healthy man. I wanted to spend some weeks here to see how my family would treat me. The herbalist was stunned. He had been led to believe, like everyone else, that Mr. Edifying was gravely ill. You mean to say this was all a test? The herbalist asked, trying to grasp the full extent of the revelation. Yes, Mr. Edifying admitted. I needed to know who truly cares for me and who is here only for the money. It's a way to see their true nature. Now that I see the genuine love and support from most of my family, I feel reassured. The herbalist, after a moment of stunned silence, nodded in understanding. He could see the wisdom in Mr. Edifying's plan and agreed to continue the ruse. I understand, Mr. Edifying, the herbalist said. I will keep your secret and continue as if nothing has changed. You will have your time to observe. The next few weeks were a period of transformation for the family. The sincere care and attention given to Mr. Edifying created a sense of unity and purpose among most family members. The support and kindness extended to him were genuine, but the few who had chosen to stay away and withhold their help showed their true colors. In the end, Mr. Edifying's test revealed both the strengths and weaknesses within his family. The experience served as a poignant lesson in trust, loyalty, and the true value of family. The bonds between those who had shown unwavering support were strengthened, while those who had revealed their true motives were left to face the consequences of their actions. Mr. Edifying, now reassured of the love and loyalty of many of his family members, felt a sense of peace and fulfillment. His final test not only demonstrated the nature of his family, but also reinforced the importance of genuine care and unity in times of hardship. The family, having learned from this experience, began to mend their relationships and focus on rebuilding their lives with a renewed understanding of what truly matters. The following day, Mr. Edifying observed his family's behavior quietly, taking in every interaction and gesture. He saw the genuine efforts of those who truly cared for him and appreciated their unwavering support. Conversely, he noted the absence of those who had chosen not to help, their absence a silent testament to their true nature. It had been a month since Amma had brought her father to the herbalist's place in the village. One evening, as Amma sat by his side, her heart heavy with concern, she noticed a remarkable change in her father. To her astonishment, Mr. Edifying slowly sat up, looking strong and vibrant, as if he had been magically restored. Overwhelmed with emotion, Amma's eyes welled up with tears. "Father, you're awake. You're strong again." "I can hardly believe it," Amma exclaimed, her voice trembling with a mix of disbelief and relief. Mr. Edifying reached out and gently held Amma's hand, his eyes reflecting a deep mix of gratitude and seriousness. "Amma, my dear, please don't worry. I have never been sick. I pretended to be ill to see how my family and loved ones would treat me." Amma was stunned, her mind racing to process his words. "Father, you pretended to be ill, but why?" Mr. Edifying took a deep breath, preparing to explain his actions. "Amma, I needed to know the truth. I wanted to see who among my family and friends would stand by me out of genuine love and loyalty, and who would be driven by greed and self-interest. I didn't want my company to fall into the wrong hands after my death." He continued, his voice filled with a combination of sorrow and resolve. "I am fully aware of what has been happening in the city. I know about the infighting over properties, the mismanagement of the company, and even your mother's betrayal." Amma's heart ached as she listened, understanding the depth of her father's pain. "Father, it's been so hard watching them destroy everything. I tried to help, but they wouldn't listen." "Amma, you have shown me what true love and dedication look like, Mr. Edifying said with quiet pride. Your sacrifices, your unwavering care, and your integrity have proven that there is at least one wise and loyal person among my children who can manage my company and continue my legacy. Mr. Edifying sighed deeply, reflecting on the actions of his wife and other children. Despite knowing where I was and how I was treated, you, Emma, have demonstrated the values I hold dear. I have decided that you are the one to inherit the company and carry on my legacy. Emma was overwhelmed by the weight of the responsibility, but also felt a profound sense of honor. Father, I will do my best to honor your legacy and lead the company with the integrity and wisdom you have taught me. Mr. Edifying smiled, a mixture of relief and pride in his eyes. I do not doubt that you will. My decision was not just about testing loyalty, but also about ensuring that the company and our family's legacy would be preserved with the respect and care they deserve. Emma took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenges ahead. The journey to rebuild her family's trust and manage the company would be arduous, but she was determined to rise to the occasion. With her father's blessing and the support of those who truly cared, she felt ready to face the future and honor the legacy that had been entrusted to her. As Mr. Edifying continued to recover, Emma worked tirelessly to address the issues that had plagued the family and the company. Her efforts to mend relationships, restore trust, and guide the business with renewed integrity began to yield positive results. Slowly, the family began to heal, and the company started to stabilize under her leadership. The experience had been a profound lesson in the true meaning of family, loyalty, and legacy. Mr. Edifying's test revealed the depths of his children's characters and ultimately paved the way for a future built on genuine values and respect. As Emma took the reins, she did so with a deep understanding of the responsibilities that lay ahead and a commitment to ensuring that the legacy of her father would continue to shine brightly for generations to come. As we come to the end of this compelling story, we've witnessed a profound journey of loyalty, betrayal, and redemption. Mr. Edifying's final test not only revealed the true nature of his family, but also highlighted the importance of genuine love and dedication. Through Emma's sacrifice and determination, we've seen how confronting difficult truths and taking bold actions can pave the way for healing and growth. What have you learned from this powerful tale? Reflect on the lessons from Mr. Edifying's test and Emma's resilience. Share with us one key takeaway that you'll carry into your own life. How can you apply these insights to improve your relationships, your approach to challenges, or your understanding of loyalty? We would love to hear your thoughts and reflections. Please leave your comment below this video and let us know what you'll bring to practice in your life. If you found this video inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more thought-provoking content. Your support helps us continue bringing valuable stories and lessons to you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to your comments.